Some of these larger reflectors and diffusers fold down to this tiny little size, and one of them is actually a reflector and a diffuser at the same time. I am fascinated with small portable stuff that you can use outdoors for video and photography in bright sunny days. And the more lightweight and small, the better, because I do a lot of hiking on location. So, and I don't want to have to use heavy equipment, which is usually lights and batteries and stuff like that. So if you could use the existing sun, that'd be great without having to use lights. Using existing sun means reflectors and diffusers because the sun is really harsh. So in the normal world, this is what people use. I know I made a video about this before, but I'm going to get to the smallest possible reflectors and diffusers. This is not the smallest, but this is what most people know when they think of diffusers. Something like this. And it's a 5-in-1. It's okay. You know, it's got like silver, white, black, gold, and all that. And the thing about these things is, they're floppy. And if you don't have an assistant, you know, putting on a light stand is kind of hard, especially on a windy day. So this is not the optimal way to go, and I don't consider that totally portable. The next step down is this one here. This is a pretty good one. Selens, 43 inches. I like it. It's $30. This is a diffuser, and it's actually quite rugged. It's not that flexible. So I'm going to show you how to use this in a second. The problem is, how do you mount this? How do you mount this when there's no assistance and the wind is going? So I'll get to that in a second. The next step down in size is the Sunbounce 32-inch. This is smaller in size for portability, and it's pretty rugged. It's a zebra on one side. When they say zebra, it's usually zigzags of gold and silver, because silver is too bluish and gold is too orangey. So this is a nice mid-ground for especially skin tones. If you do a silver reflector in the sun or white, you're going to get kind of bluish light because the sky is very blue and you're reflecting a lot of blue from the sky into the face. Gold is a little too orangey, so this is a nice mid-ground for reflecting. I'm going to show you how to mount this thing in a second too. Then we have the Sunbounce Micro Mini here. This one is better for wind because it uses nice rigid aluminum rods here. It takes a few minutes to set up, but it's very, very rigid. That's the secret of having good reflection, where it doesn't warp or bend and stays nice and flat. The reason for this is you have these bars on the back. And this is the key thing for having things not flop around, is you have this crossbar, and that is what you mount to a light stand. And you can turn it however you want with an angle. And for that, you use a super clamp. Okay, so I have a super clamp on here. You just find the angle that you want, and then you tighten it, and it stays. Always make sure you have a sandbag or a shot bag or a rock or something heavy to hold down the base. All right, so how do you make the floppy ones have this? Because they don't come with a crossbar. But first, I want to show you a little homemade portable thing I made. I showed you this in another video. We were in Palm Springs, and we didn't have anything with us, and I needed a reflector. So I went to the local store and I spray glued some tin foil onto a foam core and put a handle on it. This actually fits in a suitcase, and it weighs nothing. So this is rigid, it's flat and hard, which is what you want for a reflector. It weighs nothing, and it's highly reflective. You got white on one side, silver on the other. It costs almost nothing. So this is actually a really good reflector, and you can get some nice, wow, reflection on there. Just thought I'd throw that in there real quick. All right, so here we have the floppy ones, and we're going to secure them like we did the rigid one. But how are we going to do that? You get something like this. This is a mounting bracket for reflectors and diffusers. They come in different styles and sizes. This one comes with a ball mount that you mount on your light stand, and they expand. So this one goes from this distance to this distance. Really lightweight, doesn't weigh anything. The heaviest part of these is the mounting part. So the first thing I do is take this heavy mount off and use my own. I'll show you what I use in a second. Look how long this one is.
Hot diggity.
That is long. You can put giant ones on here if you want. So they come in all different sizes, and this weighs nothing. Another thing you could do is just make your own. I went and got an aluminum rod to the right length, and you get one of these clamp things, and these clamp onto the edge of See, that goes on a light stand and it holds it, and then you tighten it up. The only thing with this is it's just vertical. You can't tilt this any way you want. But anyway, so what I did is I took this clamp here, and they come in different sizes. This is a smaller size, and I mounted on the end of the rod. I put one on each end here, and then you use a mounting thing on the center. Now you could use obviously a super clamp, but I don't like using these things because they're big and heavy. So what I use, ta-da, is these things. These are mini super clamps. Each company calls it something different. This is by Impact. They call this one an atom clamp. You can get they're like $10 or something. And I put that in the middle, and you'll notice underneath here, there's a 1/4 and a 3/8 inch thread. So you just mount that on the light stand. All right, one side and two sides. All right, so I got it clamped here. I just tilt this to the angle that I want, and then I tighten it, and there it is, in place. It's pretty rigid. It's not very floppy. It was floppy before. It's pretty rigid now. As long as it's weighted down at the bottom, this should stay in. It'll maybe blow in the wind a little bit, but this is how you hold it in place with a lightweight clamp and a lightweight rod. If you're using smaller reflectors like a 22-inch one, you can just go to your local hobby store and get a wooden dowel. These weigh nothing. Super lightweight. You cut it to the same length as your reflector. Then you get a couple of reflector clamps, stick them on the ends, and then you put your little mini super clamp in the middle of it. Then you mount this to the light stand as such. Ka-tunk. And there you go. You can mount it in whatever angle you want. Ready to go. Look at that. And then when you're done, the whole thing breaks down to that. You can even put your clamps inside the bag. So now, there's your kit. How cool is that? That's really small and portable. I mean, that is really portable for a reflector kit. If you don't know what size your reflector is, I did the same thing with this. I mounted a little mini atom clamp here. All right, so this is a big diffuser, so we put it out as long as we want. You slide it to the right length, tighten it, put it in the angle you want. And the cool thing about right now we got overhead, the sun is almost directly overhead. You can actually use this as a sunshade. I mean, you could use an umbrella obviously for that, but if you want it at a particular angle, you put it at the angle you want, and there you have diffusion. You could create shade this way and then have a reflector down here. Okay, so I have a diffusing the light from above, but you still got shadows coming from underneath. That's a little too harsh, so let's switch it over to white. So this is easy. You just unclamp it, flip it over. This is without, and this is with. Without, with. So now we have light coming from two different sides. Okay, so that's how you secure standard pop-open floppy reflectors. But what I'm going to show you is things that are not as floppy and compact a lot smaller than this. Because these ones get down to this size when they're compacted, but the ones I'm going to show you are down to this size. This is the smallest, same size when they're open, but look how small this compacts down to, and it's more rigid. That's what I'm excited about here. All right, so here I am under a diffuser with a little white reflector here, showing you the world's smallest cool diffuser reflector set. This is by Manfrotto Lastolite. Look how small this is. It's 7 inches by 2.5 inches. This is the standard silver white one, and this is how it comes out in. So you got your fabric and you have your ring holder, and if you do it right, check this out. If you just wiggle it enough times, it should go into place by itself. And then you just clip the handle together and you're done. Look at that. I didn't have to spend minutes putting this thing together. And then you just take the fabric and it's got clips on it and you just start clipping it to the ring. And there you go. It's nice and rigid. Look at that. It's not flopping around very much. This is quite rigid. It has a 1/4 thread on the handle. Here's 4 different ones. The standard ones are 32 inches. This is silver on one side and white on the other. This one here, and they're about $100 a piece. That $120, something like that. This one here is white on one side and silver and white on the other, but the white is translucent. It's actually a diffuser. So if you're using it from one side, it diffuses the light. If you're using the silver and white, it's half diffuser, half silver reflector. So they call it a Difflector. It's $95. Got the 1/4 mount in the handle. It's rigid. So this is a kind of a unique thing. You can use it as a white reflector. You can use it as a silver and white reflector or a diffuser. Next one up, we have a silver and white reflector. So it's not pure silver. This is actually a cool hybrid of silver and white. So it's not blindingly silver and it's not too soft white. This is halfway in between. So I really like this. This is they call this one soft silver. And on the other side, we have silver and gold. So this is a zebra. They call this one Sunlite. It's actually more silver and less gold, but it's still a mixture of silver and gold. So this warms up the cold silver. It's what they call Sunlight. It's like 1/3 gold, 2/3 silver. This one is soft white. This is half white, half silver. And then, of course, they have a diffuser. This is a 2-stop diffuser. This is the Pro version. This is 38 inches instead of 32. And it's even at this size, it's pretty rigid. I'm like, look at that. It's not flopping very much. All right. So how do you mount these things? So let's look at the options. For the ones that have a 1/4 thread in the handle, you could just use a normal umbrella bracket. This is good because you can tilt it and lock it in place. The downside of the umbrella brackets is it can turn this way when the wind catches it. So that's not good. Obviously, the best thing is to put the bracket across like this, like I just showed you. And this is the sturdiest. If there's even a slightest amount of wind, this is what I suggest you do. Now, these mounting brackets, the first thing I do is take off the heavy light stand bracket that they come with. They come with stuff like this, which is heavy, or this one here. Here's another one I took off. That was on here like that. These are just too, and not even if they're not heavy, they're big. So when you're traveling, you want small and lightweight. So you could use a super clamp, but these are big and heavy. Also, you could use a grip head, a normal grip head, again, big and heavy. So as you can see here, I used one of these mini clamps. These are great. These are really, really good. And there's different kinds. There's Small Rig has one. Impact has one. I'll put the links down below. But these are really, really good for clamping onto these things like that. These ones here, these Manfrottos, are more actually lighter than a normal one. And this one, you can put the handle on here like this and clamp it like that nicely. Or even at an angle if you want, a little bit of an angle. Let's say you don't need it at an angle. You just want to hang it straight up and down on a post like this for shade or whatever, or the sun is low enough. Then you just need something to hang it from. You could use this, obviously, the clamp thing that I was telling you about, and it stays. Now here's something really, really ultra lightweight, ultra cool. Look at this little gadget here. It's a plastic thing with a round thing area and Velcro, and it has a 1/4 thread on the bottom. So you screw this onto your light stand. This is the most lightweight travel thing you could ever use. And then you could just mount, put your thing on there and then Velcro it. It doesn't get any easier than that. If you want to just have it hanging there. And then if you do it this way, I suggest you have a piece of a twist tie, just a little twist tie that you tie it down right there to hold it in place. I actually use this for mounting flashlights on a light stand or anything that's got a round shape to it. Talk about lightweight. This weighs nothing. This is so much lighter than this, which is metal. This is plastic and Velcro. This weighs nothing. So this is a very, all-purpose thing you could use for all kinds of stuff. Let's see if I can find a link. I've had this for a while. But yeah, if there is wind, then do the crossbar. Nothing beats the Lastolite Manfrottos go into a little pouch this size. So here's her face just in shade with the sun behind her. Here's a white reflector. Okay, flipping over, here's the silver. Wow, look how bright that is. That's really harsh. So let's switch over to the silver and white Difflector. That's a lot softer. Okay, let's flip it over to the white diffuser side. Next up, we have the silver and white reflector on the non-diffuse side. This is a little harsher than the silver and white Difflector. All right, let's turn her around so she's facing the sun. And I'm going to put the diffuser over her. Look how much softer that is. Now let's try the Difflector here. This is the white diffusion side facing down. This is the white Difflector with the white side facing down. And this is the two-stop diffuser, 38-inch. Okay, so now I've got the Difflector up here acting as a diffuser with the white side pointing down. And then here I have a white silver with the white side reflecting, bouncing from below. All I'm using is just one of those little mini clamps on the light stand. So I'm not using big heavy brackets. So other than these two light stands, all I'm using is two of these things and two little clamps. That's it. It's very portable, very lightweight, and not that expensive. So the two most portable compact reflectors I recommend for traveling are the 22-inch pop open like this little 5-in-1 from Glow, which comes with a gold, silver zebra stripes, white, silver, black, and diffuser, all for only $20 and packs down this small. All you need is a 22-inch stick and some clamps. This is without, and this is with a 22-inch reflector. 22 inches is more than good enough to light up your shot if all you're lighting up is a face like this. Again, this is without, and this is with. If you're doing more than just a face, then I suggest the 32-inch Manfrotto Lastolite Compact Halo, which is twice as big as this. Even though they're bigger, the halos fold down much smaller in a little bag like this, but they take longer to set up and break down. And at $120, they cost 6 times more than these. Sure, the reflector itself can fit in your pocket, but because it's a bigger reflector, it needs a bigger support rod if you're going to be shooting in a breeze. And the bag is so small, you cannot fit the clamps inside there. I'm going to give away the Glow 32-inch 5-in-1. It's got the zebra stripes on one side, the black on the other. It's got silver, white. It's got a diffuser in there, and it breaks down to something this size. I'm also going to give away this, which is a 2-foot by 3-foot 5-in-1. It's got the silver, gold, white, transparent, and everything, and it's rectangular. So I'm going to give these two away at marcuspicks.giveawayenter.com. So if you like traveling and traveling light, it doesn't get much smaller and more lightweight than this. So hopefully I inspired you to go out into the world and do some photography and video without heavy equipment or expensive equipment that packs down really small and lightweight. Hopefully you have something beautiful to photograph and video. And if not, go find one. Until then, I will see you next week.